Let's switch it up a little bit and talk about your work in Alliance.ph. One of the things that you advocate is, of course, are fintechs, startups, entrepreneurship. Can you talk about that? Where are the opportunities exactly in that space? And, how can we take advantage of those opportunities?
Yes. Well, I have some good news to share with you and to share with our audience. And we released, about 2 months ago, we released the latest Philippine FinTech report for 2023. And in fact, the FinTech Alliance was included in the Philippine Development Plan under the Marcos administration. Yes. And one of those metrics included under NEDA, or the National Economic Development Authority, and also the SEC, is for us to grow the number of FinTech players in the Philippines. From the baseline of just 16, and to grow that by to 61. From 116 to 261 in year 2028. In fact, we have reached that goal as early as 2023. So we're actually 5 years advanced in terms of meeting that target set under the Philippine Development Plan. So what are the, what it indicates practically the robustness, or how the Philippines has now become a digital hotspot, where fintech investors would actually be lured to be part or to come to Philippines and invest in our fintech startups or even fintech players in the industry. And for a fact that we now have at least 2 unicorns, that will be Maya and GCash. GCash being a double unicorn, a $2 trillion valuation, right? So, and we hope that there will be more unicorns in the Philippines, and the thriving startup industry in the Philippines, as far as fintechs are concerned, is really very promising, right? While we could see that there has been, I could say that this is more of a investment, winter in a way, because we have not seen the dramatic growth when it comes to fintech investments for the past couple of years, and because of course, for obvious reasons, the geopolitical tension, some economic condition, the global economic conditions, and now we have the Israel conflict. Aside from the Ukraine-Russia geopolitical tension, the things that we are seeing right now would be, I think it would still continue until maybe 2 to 3 years, until you see more investors to come into Philippines to invest in some fintech startups in the country.
I was wondering if there are other opportunities beyond these companies that you mentioned that had basically digital wallets, right? And it's interesting that you brought them up, because it doesn't conform with what I think of as a startup, because you have GCash, you have the Ayala Group behind it, you have Globe, right? Already a very large corporation. Maya, of course, you have PLDT. When I think of a startup, I'm talking about like a young, maybe college dropout who comes up with the next Grab or the next type of application like that. Besides digital wallets, what are the other opportunities you see that can grow? Because I see, for example, Angkas doing very well. I'm not sure.
Mobility,
maybe mobility. What other, I suppose, services do you think would be ripe for a fintech investment and present opportunities for growth?
If you are to see the fintech pie, in terms of verticals, payments would definitely be the leader in so far as the number of players in that particular vertical. And second to that would be lending, right?
Okay.
So lending definitely would be the cash cow, supposedly the one that will really generate more revenues for any fintech player. So, and that's followed by other verticals such as into wealth, for example, or regtech or subtech, or even insurance, etc. But the good news as well is that again, the regulator, BSP, came up with what they call the regulatory sandbox, and even SEC came up with a draft circular on its on sandbox as well, wherein it allows you allows the industry or the industry players, particularly startups, to have a test and learn approach, no, wherein they will allow you to experiment on something,
Sure.
Without you having to invest so much and without you having to conform with lots of regulatory issuances. So practically, they're giving you that sandbox or that playground for you to further innovate. And once you can scale that, once you can experiment on that and see, the positive, be able to test all your hypotheses there, for example,
Sure.
you could now be able to scale that, and now you're ready for it to be regulated, right? So,
Sure.
so at least regulation is not something to be seen as a stumbling block, especially for startups, because it would really allow you to innovate and to have that playground for a test and learn approach.
Sure, but is there an ecosystem that exists already in the Philippines? Because when I think of countries that have a lot of startups, right, including fintech startups, I mean, Israel comes to mind, maybe Singapore, but it's more than just the creativity of people in those countries, but there is this ecosystem that exists, right? The angel investors, the financing. I mean, there are many other components that exist to help them become unicorns. What does the Philippines need? I mean, do we have that ecosystem? Do we need certain parts of it to make it, work better?
Yes, you're right. I mean, financing or funding is key in really growing your business, right? Especially for a startup. And in fact, we have quite a number of flaws, right? I mean, for example, the Philippine Innovation Act, but unfortunately, it's not that well funded by government, because unlike in other parts of the world, I mean, other countries, there's so much resources. I mean, meaning financial resources, with the aim of really backing up startups, right?
Right.
That's why, as angel investors, as
venture capitalists,
as venture capitalists, etc. And we've seen some countries that are where there's their startup industry has been thriving because of that resources, right? And I think the Philippines is also trying to gear up towards that direction. And what comes to mind is an entity. I don't know if you have met this entity called Kubo. QUBO.
No.
This is actually being funded, also being led by the PLDT Foundation together with DTI, and I think they also have foreign funding. And the aim is really on how they can assist or facilitate for startups. In fact, I've been one of their judges when it comes to having to judge their presentations and try to mentor them as to how they could further grow their how they could further improve their business case or their business model. And I think this is I think also the role of the industry, especially for practitioners, to be able to also mentor the soon to be or future tech giants as well, or future fintech leaders as well, right? Because again, it's more of giving back and being able to provide that, being able to share your knowledge and your experience or expertise to the new breed or the new generation of fintech players.
But do you think there should be new policies that the government should look at? I know that some of the companies, including the ones that you've worked for in the past, they have their own private initiative, right, to have incubators.
Yes.
But how do we scale that, right, so that it's not just those companies that have that vision or that willingness to help new players, but how do we make it institutionalized so that there is an environment that encourages that? Is Alliance.ph maybe thinking of proposing any new laws that or maybe there should be new mindsets that should change in the country that should be looked at?
You know, Philippines is one of those countries with the most number of laws, right? So I think we have enough.
So we have enough laws.
We have enough
Okay.
of those laws or circulars or regulations.
So maybe too much. Maybe we should take away.
Yeah, maybe it's more of, again, execution, implementation,
Okay.
right? And I think the active participation of the private sector,
Okay.
in terms of shepherding the industry,
Sure.
to make sure that we can be at par with the best of with the best in class in the world, right?
Sure.
So because the whole idea is on how we can create value and how we can promote quality, right? And our aspiration has been to be a global center of excellence, right? And the thing is that we can only do this with a clear mindset, with a clear vision,
Okay.
of being able to have that culture of excellence, right?
Okay.
And to your point, there are several entities, for example, that are also looking into opportunities, in the
Okay.
Philippines. And this is something that we are also that the FinTech Alliance has been partnering with. And in fact, this is also our way of being able to partner with quite a number of governments. No, in fact, we have partnered with the governments of Hungary,
Interesting.
the Singapore FinTech Association, and other FinTech associations of various countries. So in fact, we have now partnered with at least 25 countries, and that would include Israel and of course Hungary and other ASEAN member countries, right? So the whole idea here is how can we provide, or we can tell the world that we are doing all of these initiatives and be able to entice them to be part of our Philippine development initiatives. So one thing that we are also doing is, this one is about our participation in the Singapore FinTech Festival. This will happen this coming November 15 to 17. And, Singapore FinTech Festival is the world's biggest FinTech event, wherein it is being attended by over 90,000
Wow.
participants from 110 countries worldwide. And FinTech Alliance will mount the Philippine Pavilion.
Yeah.
And this Philippine Pavilion will be known as the Bagong Pilipinas Philippine Pavilion in support of President Bongbong Marcos's agenda towards digitizing the Philippines, right? So the push of the government towards having a robust and sustainable digital economy is now, with this branding, with this slogan of Bagong Pilipinas. So that's why the whole idea of us mounting that at the Singapore FinTech Festival is really to showcase the Philippines as a digital hotspot where potential investors could come in. And in fact, we are partnering with the BSP, with the SEC, with DICT, and with other government entities such as DTI, Board of Investments, and other private and also other government agencies such as Land Bank, Development Bank of the Philippines, and other FinTech players in the industry. Because again, this is more of a public-private partnership,
Right.
on how we can collectively promote the Philippines as a FinTech investment haven.